What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Mile Wide Beer Company, and they're out of Louisville, Kentucky, and this is their Tuck Rule. So they're calling this one a Northeast style IPA that is brewed with Citra and Amarillo hops. It comes in at 6.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed time of review. This can is just under 3 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Todd, for hooking me up with this one. So big thanks to him for this beer. In the description box, I will post a link to the beer mail boxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Todd hooked me up with, and he sent me a beer named Tuck Rule. Damn you, Todd. What are you doing to me, buddy? So if you are familiar with American football, and more specifically the National Football League, the NFL, you will remember the Tuck Rule incident that happened. It's been, over 20 years at this point. I think it was the playoffs of 2001, Oakland Raiders, New England Patriots, the Tuck Rule. And me, being a Seattle Seahawks fan, many years down the line, the Patriots beat my Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Just give Marshawn Lynch the ball. Pete Carroll, what are you doing? Todd, what are you doing to me? You made this happen. I'm not a fan. Anyway, yeah, so Mile Wide, I've had a couple beers from them. I've reviewed them on the channel, courtesy of a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber, Rod J, over at Rod J Beer Ventures. I think it was a milk stout and a brown ale, and they were both pretty solid, but this is the first hop-forward beer that I'm reviewing from them, and Citra and Amarillo hops. I don't know what to expect from this one, but I'm pretty excited. Just under 3 weeks old, so yeah, anyway, let's crack this one open. So I did roll it, a little bit coming out right now, but we should be fine. Now I'm going to do the side pour. Shout out to John over at Hops and Brews, and I'm probably going to spill it everywhere. We're learning as we go. Anyway, here we go. See how it has that smooth pour? Do something like that. Don't want to get everything in there. But yeah, what a nice looking beer. Wow. So on camera, this is going to look darker than it probably is in person. This has, a dark orange color, but I always notice on camera, it's always darker, so it's going to probably look like super oxidized perhaps, but has about a finger of this very lightly, we'll say like a light tan colored head. Very creamy looking, murky, turbid, the whole nine. Yeah, that plays the role of a Northeast style IPA, New England style IPA, whatever you want to call it, any IPA. It's good nose. Nice. So there's a lot of citrus. There's orange. There's sweeter grapefruit. There's some peach and mango. A little bit of like a dank kind of resinous hop quality. The, dare I say, tonality of this beer is very reminiscent of like old school New England style IPAs that maybe I first started trying in the late 2010s, say like 2016, 17, 18. Beers like that where, it was very big on the citrus, but also had like a stone fruit tropical kind of quality. Some dankness, some slight herbaceousness here, and then like a little bit of an earthy, like I was gonna say finish, but on the aroma, but a little bit of earthiness as well. Smells like it might lean a little bit sweeter, but I'm okay with that. 6.5% should be fine. There's an underlying slightly crackery, doughy kind of malt sensation. If I was doing this blind, I would definitely off the nose think lower ABV IPA or maybe even like a higher ABV pale ale. I would probably guess like 6.5, honestly, smelling this. Smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Todd. So I'll say, nose is better than taste, but did they nail the mouthfeel? Bet your ass they did. They nailed the mouthfeel. But I think this is 6.5%. It's like medium, maybe a touch over. Body, bigger than 6.5. Mouthfeel, it's really soft and creamy on the palate. Probably using a ton of flaked oats and, wheat and whatnot. The taste is slightly muted. There's a lot of orange, tangerine, dare I say tangelo, a lot of sweeter orange, tangerine, grapefruit right at the forefront. That hits. There's an underlying, like I said, crackery, doughy thing that was getting the nose kind of carried over on the palate. Right after that citrus, though, a touch of a stone fruit, and I'd say more of like an underripened peach and mango. Halfway through the palate is where the bitterness sneaks in, and this definitely has more bitterness than a typical beer within the style, I would say. It has this really dank, earthy kind of bitterness. It's like moderately bitter. and it finishes semi-dry. I will say the one knock on this beer is that for something that's 6.5%, I think I'd like a little bit more sweetness to balance out that bitterness. If this was a 7.5%, 8% beer, I think you'd have enough of a malt sweetness and those fruity kind of hop components being sweeter to kind of balance it out. I think at 6.5%, it's a little bit unbalanced. I think Todd said they release this every year around the Super Bowl, which makes sense based on the name of the beer. You can't taste 6.5%. Here's what I'll say about this one. The nose was pretty damn good and right in the realm of, again, an older school, like 5-year-old, not an actual 5-year-old, but like 5 years ago, say like 2017, of a New England style IPA I would get back then. The nose, a lot of citrus, a little bit of stone fruit and tropical. But the taste, I think, I do enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. This is actually pretty good. I think the problem I'm having specifically is there's a big, and I've only drank what? I haven't even poured all of it in. Let's pour the rest in just to see how much. I think this is a 12-ounce glass. So maybe I've drank like 2 or 3 ounces so far, right? Maybe 4 at the max. I will say, or what am I saying? I think this 12-ounce glass, I probably drank like 4 to 5 ounces. And I think the problem I'm having with this one is that there isn't enough sweetness to hold up to that bitterness on the back end. Like I said, moderately bitter, semi-dry. There's this like resinous, almost slight piney type of feeling on the back of the palate. It's almost as like a New England style IPA meets like a West Coast, but I don't think it's keeping everything checked. I think it's a little bit unbalanced. It's still good. I like the flavors. It's definitely citrus leaning, has that resinous, pine, dank, earthy type of quality. It's just not my favorite. It's good. I'll drink the rest of this. I have no problems with it. It's just, I think I need a little bit more sweetness or maybe a little bit more vibrant like fruitiness to kind of balance out that bittering on the back of the palate. If you like really bitter New England style IPAs or something that's kind of gripping your palate, and like as we're talking right now, what's left on my palate is just a really resinous, moderately bitter, dry feeling on the back of my tongue. And I've mentioned this before, I don't like super dry or super bitter beers. I like a balance. Like if there's a nice moderate bitterness, I want a nice solid sweetness up front. I think that lacks a little bit in this one, probably because of the ABV. That said, it's really drinkable for somebody who would enjoy something that leans a little bit more bitter and dry. Can't go really high on this one. I'll give it a proper score. Like I said, I do enjoy it. I'm going to drink the rest of that and have no issues. So the best I can do on Tuck Rule from Mile Wide, I'm going to give it a -5 out of 5 because of the name. That's it. Now, I'm going to give this we'll go straight 3.75 out of 5. I think that's a fair score. I think it's pretty solid, pretty good, but it's not blowing me away. Price and availability, I have no idea. So, Todd, this is where you chime in. Something that's 6.5% in this realm, I wouldn't want to see it more than $16 a 4-pack, but more in like the $14 range. But I'm sure this is probably more in like the $16 range, but Todd, let me know. And then availability, again, Todd, this is where you chime in. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky. Todd resides in Indiana. I'm sure they get distro to some of the surrounding states, but we don't see Mile Wide in my neck of the woods. So really cool of Todd to send this one my way. And yeah, do I have one more from them? I have another one from them he sent. I don't remember off the top of my dome piece. Whatever. We'll get to it. We'll enjoy it. Oh, it was a pastry stout. And that sounded pretty good. So we're definitely going to dive into that one soon. So once again, thanks to Todd for this beer. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Till the next one. Cheers.